You get everything. Yes, Petri dish. Very much.
So what do you want to share with us tonight? I think getting in the bloodlines and all that stuff may be too far down the path if we're going to do some more showing the animals and talking about...
It's a corgi.
Yeah.
Corgis
rule. Got to put a
rules.
corgi on screen, everybody. That's what that means.
It's the
There we go.
honorary
Corgi on screen.
We got an honorary corgi.
Pneumonia. Ugh, Corina, that's no good.
My grandmother had corgis.
They're the best dogs.
Really?
Oh, yeah, hands down.
I've never owned one. I've been around a couple briefly.
Best
And they were...
dogs that you will ever own.
Corgis are pretty cool. They got them big old ears, though. They're so cute. They're good little dogs.
I know satellites. Satellites.
Yep.
He picks up like at least 6 additional channels.
I had a neighbor that had a corgi that would ride on his horse with him all the time.
I had one that would do that.
I wouldn't want my dog on the horse with me.
I had one that would do that,
Wouldn't
but
walk.
the people that I had a tendency to ride with, there was one girl that was notorious, like her horse was just an asshole and hated dogs, and there were several times that the horse quite literally snatched my dog off the back of my horse, and we stopped doing it after that. So...
Basement. No, this shouldn't be sub only. I was going to do one later on after the show ends.
Yeah, it says it says it up there on the screen.
Yeah, this show is fine. This show shouldn't be touched.
He needs to
by
learn.
that.
He can't read.
Yeah, that's later
I
on.
thought that's what it said.
Yeah, that's not to do with your show, Carly. Let me move this.
Yeah,
out.
it'll just be a hangout or something.
I just moved it on the screen a little bit. Yeah, no, that's just afterwards. I was going to do that later. It just had popped up a suggestion, so I said, okay. I wasn't trying to isolate this show, that's for sure. I know sub, he says.
Well, Carly, so let's get into this for a little bit. What got you into this? I mean, like you as a little kid and you seen the green tree, or you seen a green snake and you're like, I just love green.
No, it's not. It's no.
I mean, right?
Near.
I do. We know I do.
Nowhere near. It's really. I just have always liked reptiles, and y'all will be shocked to hear this. I started with ball pythons briefly.
She says briefly.
She loves pet
and
rocks.
quickly realized it. I just didn't like having drawers full of rocks. I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. There was honestly too much variability in that, you know, you could breed 2 very expensive snakes together and you could get very cheap snakes.
Yeah,
I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. So,
I get that.
How long did you mess with ball pythons for?
like maybe 6 months.
And then you got into
somebody on the screen that ain't me.
Say again?
I was gonna put somebody on the screen that ain't me.
Well, you're the guest.
She's prettier.
That's the
we
guess.
go.
There we go.
I started to say she's prettier. But
Okay, so you got your first green tree as you was phasing out the ball pythons.
yeah, so I did ball pythons, and then I briefly, I tried to do a couple of other things like some colubrids and stuff like that. Realized I hated colubrids.
Yeah.
So I switched pretty quickly, and I decided I ended up with the green trees, and trust me, I'm quite happy with that.
Well, yeah, I can see why.
Well, yeah, because they're pretty. They're very pretty. But I got my first green tree in 2019.
Yeah. So you've been at this almost 6 years now.
I know, it's wild to think about it.
How soon into it did you get your first breeding female or pair? Like, how soon did you start trying to pair them?
My first clutch was in 2021.
Quickly.
Yeah. That was my first clutch was in 2021. It didn't pan out
Right.
just because of bad calcification. The eggs really just were never kind of planned to make it. It wasn't for lack of trying, but we we did with what we could. So, and then I didn't try again until 2020, obviously until this past year, 2023 into 2024.
How many clutches did you do last year, and what's your expectation for the coming season then?
So I had 2 clutches this year.
Okay.
This past year anyway. For this year, I haven't had a whole lot of interest with my pairs. Granted, this is around the time that I start seeing, I really start seeing locks and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is when I start to see interest, and this is when I start to see pairs actually going together and doing something. I have 4 green tree pairs that I would love to do. That's really advantageous considering my own second child is coming in April. So, hi, Kevin. Yeah, so my own child is, we're having our second born in April, and that's about the time that I get eggs is March, April.
You have a backup locally to help you out with task?
I do, but I actually, Greg, my fiance, has really started to get into things, and he's really started to be very super helpful. So he, has a lot of interest in all of this stuff. So that, I'm extremely grateful for, and I think I can do it on. Truthfully, the reality of the situation is if I pair 4 pairs together, the chance that I'm going to get, the chance that I'm going to get 4 clutches of eggs is really unlikely.
Yeah.
So,
do you find they reabsorb for you? Do you have that issue often, or when you see locks?
I've never had reabsorption. I've never had slugs laid. So I say that it's very unlikely that I would, if I breed 4 pairs together, that I'll get 4 clutches of eggs. But I can tell you that this past year, I bred 2 pairs together, hoping to get 1 clutch of eggs. And I didn't. I got 2 clutches of eggs only 10 days apart. So, Kevin, I still got 1 Neo left. Put your money where your mouth is.
I remember like a month ago, he's saying, I think I'm going to get out of green trees and get into emeralds more.
I do have 1 emerald pair that I am prepping right now to introduce in December. But those I don't have to worry about. I don't have to worry about like eggs with them.
Right. Green tree is expensive. There's a wide range.
There's a wide range. Yeah. I have some that were only, heck, I have some that I got off Craigslist for really, really inexpensive. And then I have some that, we probably just shouldn't share what they cost.
We'll get into some of that, like why some of the inexpensive snakes may or may not, be the right purchase, or maybe it is a good purchase.
It all really comes down to what you're doing and what you're after and what you want to see. If you're somebody who's trying to jump into breeding green tree pythons, and depending on what your goal is for breeding, it is in your best interest to, spend a little bit more, because ultimately what ends up happening is if you, let's say for example, you buy, I can't say dollar sign on here, can I? cookie. Okay. So let's say if you get something for, 4,000 cookies, right? And you pair it with something that's also 4,000 cookies. Well, you know what you price those animals at. You know where they started, and you know what those genetics that came from the parents were. Granted, this is that you did not overpay, because you do see where some people will charge. We're not going to name names, but you'll see where some people will charge a pretty ridiculous amount for, I'm not gonna say it, but I do know some people who overcharge. But the point is if you spend, 4,000 cookies on one and you spend 4,000 cookies on the other one, when you breed those two together, then those babies you're looking are at least going to be 4,000 cookies. So sometimes spending money means you're going to be able to get that in return, but it also means that maybe you're getting the genetics that you need. So it all depends on what you're spending it on and what you're going forward with. Kevin said in the comments. So that's a lot for wild caught. I don't ever see that much for wild caught. Now for US produced, yes. So that's another thing, is you can absolutely pop on the Morph Market right now and find animals that are $500 cookies. Sorry.
Yep.
You can find things that are 500 cookies by all means.
That's not bad.
No, but those animals, you're coming from an importer. They're probably wild caught. If they're not wild caught, they'll get away with saying something called captive bred. And captive bred does not mean U.S. produced,
right,
and hatched. It means captive bred means they either went out and found a gravid mother and brought her into captivity.
Yep.
Or they have a breeding pair of animals that they snatched from captivity.
Yep. And they also keep them in outdoor cages in Indonesia on the farms, and then they're kind of just left outdoor in the natural environment, I understand, and they pair them and breed them there just kind of willy nilly. If they take, they take. Yep. But they're in cages but outdoors, and that's like farm, just a farm production. Exactly, and they'll do that. So unless you're actually seeing U.S. CBB, U.S. captive born and bred. You can pretty much guarantee that they're not. They've really cracked down on importing, so they can't go out and just snatch from the wild anymore and sell it directly to you. But they can absolutely snatch them and put them in their breeding facilities, and then they can sell you the ones that have been in their breeding facilities for a while. And in those instances, it's not worth it to spend the very low amount of cookies on that, because what you're going to end up having to do is take it to the vet. It's going to have to be treated for probably internal parasites, external parasites. You're doing really good if that animal adjusts to captivity. You're doing really good if that animal just adjusts at all and doesn't turn around and croak on you. Yep. So the prices range, yes, based on what you're getting. Didn't Ruben have that happen? He had some in his first ones. He was doing things that sounded to be the right way, and then they just up and croaked on them. And they were imports, if I remember the story right.
I mean, everybody's been through that. I have taken chances. I have a fantastic reptile vet, and I have taken chances on things that I have seen before that maybe, I needed it because for whatever reason. So I've taken chances. Oh, here, we got some cuddling going on. I've absolutely taken chances on things before. And it's not worked out in my favor by any means.
Netflix and chill right there.
Oh, I know.
So tell us about these two.
So these two are actually the one that's completely perched up is the first one that I ever got. I got her off of Craigslist.
They met on Tinder.
Huh?
These two met on Tinder.
Yeah, basically.
They met on Snakes Only.
But I got her off of Craigslist for incredibly cheap. Turned around and sold the gecko enclosure that she was in, and basically made my money back. And I've had her ever since. So these are actually, I don't do a whole lot of locality pairings. Phil, the snake that's encroaching on her space is actually your snake's great uncle.
What's up, Unc? Nice.
Well, that's cool. What up, Uncle? What it do?
Yeah, so that one, and I wish I could pick up, I really wish that I could pick up the color that these two are on camera. It doesn't really pick up very well, but they are very minty and almost turquoise. And it doesn't really, you can kind of see it.
You can see it on the mid part of the body on that one a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Male.
But they are very turquoisey. But the male is a younger sibling to Kronos.
Okay, yeah.
So he is a Wamena Manikwari, and she at best bet is some sort of northern type, probably Wamena, possibly a mix. There's no way of knowing because I got her from, Craigslist.
Right.
But they're two very mild-mannered snakes. And they're really the only pair that's had any interest in anybody this entire time.
Let me grab these notes. Let's talk about, since you brought up some localities, that probably sounds like a foreign language to some people. We're talking about regions of Papua New Guinea, sometimes islands, sometimes a specific mountain or mountain range. There's highland, there's coast, there's different phrases people use for these localities. Biak being the most common one, I think people see the most of in the trade, as far as also affordability. Can you just kind of give us a quick geography lesson a little bit about some of these? And I got some notes on what color neos come from what localities and their groupings, and see if you want to beat it up or add anything to it.
So, I can tell you about the localities and stuff. Don't ask me to sit here and tell you about Papua New Guinea or any of that stuff because I will fail that geography lesson.
Come on, scientist.
Yeah, trust me, but geography is not my thing. Even the U.S., I'm embarrassed to say I've had some questionable, like things that I've said before, and people are like, "What?"
Right.
But so you have got there are a ton, and when I say a ton, I'm actually working on a map, Phil.
Okay.
But there are a ton of different localities for these guys, and the more bluer ones you're going to see are more northern based and higher up in the mountains. But even, it's not as simple to even say Biak because you've got, Numforo Island, and there are like 30 different kinds of just Biaks.
Really? Okay.
Heck
So
yeah.
that locality is just overly lumped together.
Well, but that's the same. And then, so that's like, you have Jayapura and Manikwari. Well, those are the exact same thing. I hate to tell you that. But they are, for all intents and purposes, those are the same thing. So it really, like I said, I'm working on a map for people. But it absolutely just, I would have to say that there's probably close to 30 to 40 different what people would call localities. And I don't even know the name of all of them.
Yeah, I've got some here. Obviously, Cyclops, which is based off of a mountain. And Jayapura fell under the Latin Azuria Uranthius, but they can have red and yellow neos. And then
Well, see, that's the thing is they only just recently split those animals into different, you know, they were all under one nomenclature at one point. They were all under the same name.
they've been fighting it for 20, 25 years, I understand. It's been a back and forth in the scientific community, right?
Yeah, I mean, and but it's constantly, you're always going to have that. And that's a constant growth, a constant changing. You know, they're sitting here talking about dividing, you know, emerald tree boas down into more as well.
So Tamika only has
Tamika is
red
just
neos.
another Biak, and you know that.
Is it really? I thought Tamikas were red only neos and they were kind of standalone. That's not true.
I haven't heard about the red only, but they get lumped in there with the Biaks. They're in the same region.
What about Numfor and Trado? Those are some names I wasn't familiar with, and they were they're Biak. Yeah, that's the same.
They're just fancy Biaks.
Maruke and Australian and your favorite Aru they're only the
That's
yellow.
not my favorite.
I know. I'm kidding you. Why don't you like Aru?
I just don't like them. I just think that they don't. I do think that they are gorgeous. The animals that come in that are imported, I think that they're absolutely gorgeous with all the white, but I very rarely see that replicated in captivity.
Okay. What I got a note for Kofiau and I can't read my own writing. Bantanom.
Kofiau is an oddball because Kofiau, I know a lot of people that will sit and say Kofiau and Maruke are very similar and in the same region, but at the same time, you know, you really see Kofiau stay more yellow. So,
do you know anything about the high yellows that exist now? Did they come from Kofiau stock initially when they started to do lemon tree?
So I do have, I have a lot of animals that have Kofiau and Biak crosses further down in their lineage. But from my understanding, and this is information that I gained from Patrick Holmes actually, is that so for instance, if I got a Kofiau and bred it to a Biak and made Kofiaks, you don't typically see high yellow in those necessarily as you do like F2 generations. So it's kind of weird the way that works.
Okay. The Robert Moss, an opinion about Robert Moss, and I gotta be honest, I don't know that
No idea
name
who that is.
either.
Yeah, I got no idea who that is. Not a clue.
Blade, was that someone that was breeding in the past?
Oh gosh.
I'm glad you don't, he says. Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm glad we ended up on the right side of that one. That one's ready for you. Is it feeding night?
No, the snake just hates me.
No, it doesn't.
This is the one that bit me in the face.
Oh, maybe it does. I stand corrected. That's not good. What? Why does it have a beef with you, Carly?
I really think she just likes food.
Well, feed that baby. Okay, talk about that. Okay, right, feeding them and stuff, because that's always a big topic. Can you overfeed? Right. So, what would be the proper way to feed them? You know, body size, things like that. What would you want to look at?
You can absolutely overfeed them. I used to have a snake called Fat Amy.
Fat Amy.
Fat Amy.
Amy had to go on a diet.
She was, and this may not mean a whole lot to people that are not familiar with.
I mean, I've met a fat Amy or two in my life, but I wouldn't say I'm familiar with her.
Yeah. What? Yeah, Greg's mad at me. Fat Amy was his favorite. And I actually sold her to Keno. That was the female that Keno had that laid
You said Keno.
the past batch of babies that he had.
That was a nice clutch. Yeah, Keno's up in Chicagoland, right? Windy City Morphs.
Yeah. But I picked her up as a 3-year-old, and she was about 1,600 grams.
Okay.
And that's too fat for anybody who is, questioning. So this girl right here is actually a 3-year-old as well. And she is healthy body size. She's healthy body condition. If I had to guess, I would say she's in and around 400 to 500 grams.
Oh my gosh. That's it?
Yeah. Yep. Only 3. She's only 3. You have to take into consideration that these animals don't actually reach, full-blown sexual maturity and size for females until they're about 5.
Right.
So you want to grow them up slow and easy, healthy.
If you end up, so I've seen a lot of problems for females that get too heavy. I don't like my females too heavy. I would prefer that none of my females hit over, 1,600 grams. Because what you can end up happening is if you've got a really massive female, these guys hang on sticks, okay? So when ovulation takes place, y'all have seen ovulation in ball pythons. They look like they ate a football, and it's really no different for these guys, but they're not laying on the ground to support their weight, and they won't go down to the ground to support their weight either. It puts a lot of strain on their internal organs, their hearts, their bodies. It puts a lot of strain on that. And I've seen a lot of people, when you get bigger females and you're breeding bigger females, they don't make it through ovulation. They ovulate and then they turn around and they die.
Huh.
Yep. Kevin asked about the breeding weight for females. There's not a breeding weight for females. So that's the thing, is there's not a breeding weight. So for instance, let me pop over here.
It's more of a visual confirmation of overall health and activity and then the age on the calendar, right?
Yeah. So like for instance, this girl who has bred before, she laid my 2021 clutch. That male is just absolutely freaking clueless. So I don't really foresee him doing much. She is probably in and around 1,400 grams, give or take. So like I said, you really don't see, you don't really see green trees, and it's a Beox, so they get fairly big. You don't see them getting much bigger than this. She is 8. So, this is the ideal size that I like to see. Now, going back to these 2 lovebirds. She is 7, and
he's worked his way in a little further. He's got arm around the shoulder now. They're sharing a popcorn.
Yeah, so she is 7, and she's just barely around 600 grams.
Wow. Okay.
And that also has to do with like northern locales. So for instance, northern localities have a tendency to be smaller.
Gotcha.
So, but I got her in 2019. She was already a green snake. She was a red neonate. So she was already a green snake. And that was, 6 years ago?
So she went through OCC quick.
Well, but I don't know how old she was. But the fact that she was already green as a red snake, because as you know, yellows will go to green quicker. Reds have to go through the process of going to orange and then going to yellow and then going to green. She was probably, if we're really going on the low end, really, she was probably in and around 2 when I got her.
Yep.
You know, but she's about the same age as that female up there.
So I've got some questions that are starting. I don't want to lose track of them. Can you touch on, just for anyone who doesn't know, we reference F1 and F2 as far as breeding and like generations of offspring. Just kind of define that, if you don't mind.
If these 2 right here, let's say these 2 right here have babies, right? They have eggs, they have babies. That generation is called F1. If I take 2 of those babies, which, by the way, this is not ideal, but not unheard of in the green tree world. If I take 2 of those babies, brother and sister, and I breed them together, that then becomes an F2 generation. What
if they weren't related? Then you can't use that phrase unless you know for certain their generation.
So if we're talking about just pure locality, so let's say an Aru to a Biak, right? So that if the first time you breed an Aru to a Biak, those resulting babies are F1 generation Aru Biaks. Let's say you have a whole different pair and you breed the Aru to the Biak and you would then get Aru Biaks. You breed one of those together. If you breed an Aru Biak to an Aru Biak, you then have a second generation Aru Biak. It's still an Aru Biak, but it is second generation. It didn't come from the original parents, the original stock.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It's like when people, I hate this explanation, but it's like when people get golden doodles. You know,
Right.
An F1 golden doodle is a golden doodle that came from a poodle to a golden retriever. An F2 golden doodle, or sometimes they call them a double doodle, is a golden doodle to a golden doodle.
Doodalicious. Okay.
Doodle-doo.
Are they ever hostile to each other when breeding? I know I've heard the story with South American and Central American boas. The female can straight up unalive the male. We heard that last week from Eric with the retics. He had a female unalive one of his males he cherished. Is there ever any aggression between these two from the female to the male?
Generally speaking, no. I've never seen it. I have absolutely, seen a very questionable situation before where I'm like, okay, do I need to get in there and spray you with water? Because I have had females that they're like, what are you doing? Who are you? Why are you in here? I don't think I could zoom in on it, but his little ticklers are tickling. You can kind of see it. You see that bump on his tail?
Oh, yep, I do. On the left hand, our left hand margin, you see that little lump right there.
Yeah, his little ticklers are tickling. But maybe who knows? Maybe we'll see something. But no, so I've definitely seen and gotten nervous, but I always introduce the males in the mornings.
Yeah.
Once they've already kind of everybody tucked in, everybody gets a spray. So it's not too big of an issue. So which is
yeah,
good.
the time of day I've always heard. Don't put them in the feed time.
Yeah, I do know people personally who have lost males to females or something like that.
Time of day is important, which is their nighttime, our daytime. It seems to be the best.
You definitely don't want to. So, like, I would not introduce any snakes right now.
No.
Under no circumstances. A, because I'm liable to get my hand bit doing it. And B, because I don't want the female to mistake the male for food.
Mm-hmm.
So they're usually pretty smart about it, though.
Right on.
She's not moved. She's just, they've been together a couple times too, though. So she's not moved. She's literally just putting up with him.
This is typical. I feel like a mirror.
Yeah.
What about this OCC, otogenic color change? I mean, I have read, and I want to know what you think of it, that it can happen start showing within 6 months, and it can take 6 months longer. It could take a year. It might not be till 5 when they're done with OCC.
That's true. And
Now,
I've seen it happen overnight.
people have said that, and I find that impossible to believe. How
No,
can
I
pigmentation
have
change?
quite literally, I have had animals that I have gone to bed with a green animal. I have woken up, or I have gone to bed with a yellow animal. I have woken up to a green tinted animal.
Stop it.
No, I'm dead serious. I'm fairly certain I got pictures somewhere. I can pull them up.
Now, you're a marine biologist, and I've seen there's a couple of actual scientists in the comments as well. Somebody explain to me the pigment shift that can happen in a hard keratin skin. I mean, much less us getting a sunburn with our soft, fleshy, greasy skin. But they have these scales of keratin that protect their actual skin. How in the hell are you going to have a pigment change show in 12 hours? I don't even understand. I can't wrap my head around it from a
honestly,
biochem idea.
I can't. Oh, he's gonna do the sexy dance.
Oh, that's
I
dread
honestly
move,
can't
dread
tell
move.
you either. Yeah, he's
Chicka,
really.
chicka,
Look at him.
bow, bow. You got to get some music playing.
I know, right? I can see his little.
Wait, whoa, hey.
What?
They're not his hemipens.
Ah,
My goodness, I can see he's got itty bitty spurs. He's not super old. He's
You're
clearly
gonna make him have a
figured it out.
complex. It's gonna. You can't say that to a guy.
don't
Come
embarrass
on.
him.
Well, it's been working. I have seen a few locks out of these guys.
It's not the size of the boat. It's the motion of the ocean. That's what I always tell myself.
Well, he's a youngin', so I mean,
Look at him.
he said, "I'm gonna do my best." The lights ain't even off, but I'm gonna do my best. But no,
He's like O'Dread. He don't care.
We are here with a wild green tree python.
he's getting a bit
One thing is
chunky.
female. I'm David Attenborough, and you're watching Nature in Progress.
I don't know where those fat rolls came from.
They had a lot of Netflix and chilling beforehand, and they picked up a few pounds while they were dating.
Clearly, yeah, it may go to R-rated. Who knows?
Right.
But no, so I don't even really know the mechanism behind it, but I promise you they can absolutely change colors without shed.
That is so wild. I believe you. I'm just blown away.
It's wild. I mean, it is absolutely wild.
Rough,
It blows
my
my mind.
brother.
But it
Let's go
is
for
so
Taurus.
it's yellows, like I said, yellows take not as long to change, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And reds typically take longer because they've got more of a shift to go through.
What if they're really
just-
melanistic on the black side? Let's say you got a Bill Stiegel line or something, freight train. Like, is the shift take as long?
It's really, I hate to tell you that a lot of that is, who knows? I mean, my black male that I've got up there, which I'm not standing up right now, but the one that I've got way up there, he is going on 3, and he's got significantly more black than his siblings. So now whether that's based on size, based on age, based on just how much he'll keep, I don't know.
Speaking of color changes and awesome snakes, did you see Mike Marshall's post today that he got from Lupe Space City Chondros?
No, I did not. I'll be honest, I've slept most of the day.
Okay, well, I'm jealous. Mike Marshall, I'm buddies with him out of Chicago. Him and Dimitri, they are geographically close to each other. They're in Chi-Town. And so I chat with those guys, but I get along pretty darn well with Mike. And he got a killer. It was dark red Neo, but it's gotten darker after its last shed.
They do, the heavily bred designers I have seen will have a tendency to go dark before they'll go lighter.
Interesting. I think he got a smoking animal. He was so happy at just that Lupe still let it go, even though it was changing in a desirable direction. He didn't shift or move. He still got the same animal, and Mike is super tickled, and I would be too. It's a killer animal. It's from Garrick and Bill Stiegel stock, so I mean, it's going to be a great animal.
It will be great for sure.
I'm jealous. I mean, that is fire beyond. That is just a stunner.
Keep your britches on, boy. Keep your britches on.
Listen,
Listen, this is R-rated enough.
reputation.
He's moving in, ain't he?
He is, and she's moving. So the real question, I mean, somebody said something about asking for consent. Yeah, he has basically spent all day with his head on her, kind of like a puppy dog. So this is basically him doing that little dance is basically his way of asking for consent. And we'll know if he gets it because females will loosen up their coils and they will drop their tails.
Dropping like it's hot.
No.
Yeah, and she would move across the cage if she wanted to be away from him, right?
Pretty much. And she has moved from him.
Well, they like to be on screen. They like to be on screen, obviously.
Yeah. He doesn't care very much about privacy. I've got another pair that he's making moves on her. I'm hesitant to show them because she had a bad shed. And I, instead of stressing her, because it was absolutely stressing her out to try to unshed her,
Oof.
I left a little bit of it for now. And so she looks terrible.
I've had to do that once, and dear Lord, that was not fun.
Sometimes it's just too much stress. It's just too much stress. And you can tell when they really start to get very stressed out. And it's just, that's not something I want to do. That's the last thing.
I got my wrist lit up, both of them repeatedly. I had soaked it for a half hour in a tub with water and then took it out with a wet washcloth and ran its body. And I had to pay the price. Next time I'll wear a winter coat when I do it because I got my wrist nailed.
Well, he's definitely.
He's not supposed to be wearing his winter coat right now, as you can tell.
No. He's a bit chunky. I don't guess I've ever paid attention to his fat rolls.
She likes dad bods.
Yeah.
I know, but chunky males usually don't do anything.
Oh.
Yeah, chunky males usually don't do nothing, but I do believe we're going to have to cut some food back.
He just went on Jenny Craig. Diet coming your way, son.
Oh, I know. I had to put the male that's the dad to yours. He only eats once a month now.
Dang. Hey, so I'm seeing. I know what that is above your animals there. It's the VE Radiant Heat Panel. I love them. I have them. I have not gone into the Wilbanks ones, so I can't compare them. But let's talk about heat source and why ceramic heat emitters may be a bad choice, and certainly heat light bulbs or belly heat tape, or I believe radiant heat panels are superior, and I have my reasons. But what do you think of them? There's your heat source, and for anyone wanting to keep them, invest your $120 into a 40-watt one of those and do it right.
That's not $120, Philip.
That's what I paid for my VE. I think 120, 140.
I paid like 80.
I have an 80 watter, which is big, but then I've got a couple of 40s.
Now this one was like 100 something.
That's an 80 watter, isn't it? That's a long one.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah, maybe I did pay 80 for mine. I don't know. It's been 6 months or 8 months since I bought one.
Oh, let me see.
But I know them to be superior because you put your money into your thermostat and your heat panel and put them in a $20 tote because that doesn't dry out the atmosphere of the animal and cause stuck sheds quite so bad. And the heat's much more even.
It is. It absolutely is.
And they can't hurt themselves on it. There's no rubbing on a screen for a heat lamp that's 120 degrees on the metal. The heat lamp's 140. That panel is just even, guaranteed not to burn. It's more fire safe. Pulse proportional thermostat makes the heat nice and even instead of erratic off and on. It's those little things that are simplistic that you don't question why they work. You just know they do.
I'm trying to see if he's going to be nice.
Is that the dad to mine?
Yeah.
I thought so. Is it
He's
Colt?
usually pretty, I mean, it's nighttime right now. He's usually pretty tolerant. Somebody asked about, can you handle them or are they biters? I can handle him in the daytime very easy. He's also one that will fall off of the perch. He may let me. He's very tolerant. Do you see why he's on a diet though?
Oh yeah, that's this coming Monday, huh? You know what, RO? As much as I love Greg Maxwell, I'm going to be on the road unless I have service on my cell phone to watch it, and I'll be on the road to Atlanta Monday evening.
No.
Try to watch it.
Here we go.
I don't want to replay it, but I'll be on the road. I'll be most likely a passenger.
Here we go.
Isn't that Colt? Is that his name?
Yeah, his name's Colt.
Now, why has he got to go on a diet? At a glance, I think he looks good.
No, he's fat. Look at him from this angle. You see his spine or lack thereof?
Yeah.
Do you see how it almost like dips in? You see how it dips in instead of dips out?
Yeah. I see that.
And then you see how where these scales look like they're kind of permanently pulled together?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a
Okay.
bit chunky.
Wow.
Well, he's not too bad. He is bad. That's bad.
He's I mean, it's not great.
Quit taking him to hometown buffet.
I mean, he's not got a whole lot. He's not got a whole lot of like spinal definition. See, right there, you can see it. See how it dips in instead of dips out? We little chunky.
Huh.
Just a
Do you
little
want
bit
to see more
chunky.
muscle striation under the skin down the lateral when you look down a long ways?
You're always going to see that when you're always going to see that when they're like moving. Because you got to think, can you hold your arm out for an extended period of time?
No.
Exactly.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
See how the scales are folded over right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because he's got fat rolls. And his spine doesn't really, like, you should be able to see their spine.
Okay.
Yep. You should be able to, and you can't really. He's a little chunky. That's what people always think. They always think that, let me see if I can get, there's Bob White. Bob White's a good example.
Oh, he's cool.
Too
But
heavy,
see how
though.
you can see his spine, how it very clearly peaks?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Versus like with females, they round a bit more. So not as defined, but you should still, if you cannot see your snake's spine, at least a little bit, if you've got an arboreal snake, they're chunky. But see how the scales don't lay down right there?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
No. It's a pretty good snake, though, I'll admit.
This one, someone's asking how often do you feed? This one you just put down on a diet to once a month right now?
Yeah, this guy literally, because see, you can see it right there. That you should be seeing a spine right here. See how round he is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he eats now, he gets a small rat. I mean, you can see how big he is. Once a month. Let's see, we're very chunky.
So it's really about your eye. You don't sit and put them on a scale and everything like we do with ball pythons. It's really about your eye and the activity of the animal it's about reading them and knowing them more than it is quantifying it in a numerical sense. I mean, because that seems subtle. I think it would be easily missed what you're pointing out here to most people,
Oh yeah,
myself
and it would
included.
be.
Myself included.
Yeah, it would be absolutely. But see, like that shouldn't be doing that right there.
Okay.
See how it's kind of like wadded up. He's also headed into shed. You can see his belly. He's also dirtied his cage, but that's nothing new.
My Neo from you is getting a little more friendly, not nearly as defensive or nippy. I hope it ends up as friendly as his dad Colt there.
His so dad and uncle are very, very friendly.
And I hope yours that I got from you is a male, darn it.
We will see.
Let's talk about that. I mean, I know the answer mostly, I think. Let's talk about identifying gender on this, because in ball python world, you pop them right after they're out of the egg or a week or so later. Some people wait after shed, but it's early in their hatch. What about these guys?
No, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Exactly.
Let's see what kind of a mood we're in here.
That's
so, like,
why they're like a box of chocolates.
Here's one of my 1.5, almost 2-year-olds. That's very small. It came to me very tiny. I don't have no idea what this is. Don't have any idea. Not trying to probe it.
No.
Probing and looking. That might be a mistake to open this. Nope. That's a no. That's a no from that one too. You know, probing them is the most secure way to know. However, you have to wait until you're really confident in their size, because you can hurt them really easily.
Yeah.
Ooh. You can hurt them really easily. So you kind of got to wait. But then you can kind of do it by shed. I wish I had saved a shed. I just had a shed. And I wish I had saved it.
When they're old enough to make sperm plugs that happen to be lucky enough to stick to the shed, then you can confirm a male. But the absence thereof does not confirm a female.
No.
It just means that, I mean, it's inconclusive. 100, you just can't. But if there are sperm plugs, you got a boy. What age would you start to look for sperm plugs on a shed? Like, is it a year and a half, 3 years old? Like, when
I've
would you
seen
start?
them really, really young.
Oh. Maybe my Biak's a girl, and I hope she is, because she's about 2-something. I think she's at least 2. I've never seen one.
The general, there have been several rule of thumbs that have said basically like, if you don't see, just because you don't see plugs doesn't mean that you've got a girl until you see them on eggs.
Yes, I completely understand that statement. That is totally what I heard too.
Thought I'd get some babies out. Now I gotta see if I can move the corgi. Hey, can you move over here? Come on. Come on. Move over here.
All right. Hey, thank you, Reformation. Appreciate you.
So I say, what was that noise?
Appreciate you big time.
Here, I'll get this one. Again, if I don't get bit. I'm not going to pull the purchase. So here is the one remaining sibling I have to yours, Phil.
Oh, that's Dred's animal.
It's not.
Oh, that one's not. Oh, okay.
It's not. Can I stick my hand in here and pull you out? You're headed into shed. This one's got shed head.
Oh, the swelling of the head.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lockwood, for joining the team there, brother. Appreciate you.
See how wrinkly it is, and see how fat its head is?
Oh, yeah. Look at that neck. My goodness.
Its head is fat.
Looks like a bulldog.
They do. They look like a bulldog when they go into shed. And this one's got just the faintest hint of blue coming in.
And they won't stay that color.
No, I've never seen one stay red. You've got them stay yellow, but not stay red.
P&W asked where she's located. She's in coastal South Carolina. P&W, opposite end of the world from you in the lower U.S. Thanks, Scruff. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's swelling. I mean, you see the wrinkles with sheds, but the head's swelling.
Look how fat its head is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of shed head. Do you know what causes that? Like
It is
biologically?
so shedding. When you actually see animals go into blue, that is when you like the yellow, the red bellies and whatnot. You're actually getting increased water and increased fluid underneath the skin, which is what helps them shed their skin off.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that is sibling to yours. And then
Now, I know you prefer across the board for safety reasons and convenience reasons, frozen thawed. Do you have any that you've acquired that you had to go live on for a period of time?
not chondros, no.
Okay. I noticed on mine, my Biak, I've done live and frozen thawed. It eats everything. I give it cheeseburgers sometimes. That Biak will eat anything. Slice of pizza, you name it. And I noticed if I was doing live too many feedings in a row, there wasn't enough internal hydration for it, and that's when I got a stuck shed. When I went back to more frozen thawed with a higher waterlogged content in that prey item, my sheds from an internal hydration standpoint came off cleaner.
Yeah. This is one of my holdbacks from my first clutch. This one was really dark and has lightened up significantly. So this is one of my holdback babies. I can't get super close because the dang camera phases out.
Clutch 1 or clutch 2 for you this year?
This was the second one, the younger clutch.
Gotcha.
Awesome. It's truly awesome.
What's up, Kyle? Thanks for joining. I saw Hoffman roll through down there.
Amazing snakes.
That bright yellow, the triangle, the bright yellow is stunning.
Yeah. Too bad they wouldn't stay that way right there.
Oh, I know. I wish they would.
Do
Man.
you feel the brighter the yellow orange, the dorsal triangles, the more likely those are to turn a good, aquamarine blue? Or is that not true?
So generally speaking, when you've got brighter, darker pattern, you get a better looking adult. That doesn't necessarily mean blue. Remember, I don't really shoot for blue.
Right.
So I'm hoping these suckers are high yellow.
There you go. How many adults do you have, Kyle asked? That's, like you said you had 27, but I don't remember if that was holdbacks and adults or not.
I have 27s. Just of the green trees?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Somewhere around 15 to 16.
Adults? Okay.
Yep. So there's one. And some of their cages are a little bit messy. If they messed them today, I don't clean at nighttime. It's just too
Yes,
stressful for them.
PNW, that is true. They do not stay that color. They will change.
So you might be able to keep a yellow or a high yellow, but those are pretty rare. It's not. That's something Carly specializes in, right? You like the higher yellow adults.
I'm trying to.
They usually turn green, shades of green.
Generally speaking.
Sometimes they're blue. What's up, Amanda? So they don't stay their neo colors unless it's yellow. They'll never stay red. They perhaps could stay yellow, but very uncommon to do so.
So how do you predict what color it's going to be as an adult? You don't.
You don't. That's the thing. That's what makes it so fascinating.
Hey, Dread, guess what this one is?
A nice one.
This one could be your snake.
Well, I got to win the lottery.
No, you don't. Does not cost that many cookies.
P&W, they don't all turn greenish. There's calico. There's heavy melanated, black ones.
I do like that one.
versions of green and lime. There's versions of more blue and aqua. There's obviously, here's a high yellow example.
That one right there. What's that? Talk about that one.
Well, I'm on my tippy toes with a Neo in one hand and my hand up there.
Well, no, look at the blacks on that.
I know. I have to wait a minute on the. That one is one of my calico animals.
Okay. Calico.
They can be different colors. You can see all different kinds, all different colors, all different sorts of stuff. I'm very hopeful that these babies, the one that I just showed you and then this one, end up being high yellow. I think somebody asked me how much. This one is 1,800 cookies. That sounds so silly to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard people get dinged on their live for trying to. I don't know how true it is. I just know the nanny bots are overbearing on TikTok. So
This is one that I'm not going to be super duper upset if it doesn't leave, because John Leckie, who is for all that I am concerned, the king of high yellow right now. So he told me, he said, hold the most reduced with the highest white in the patterning. Which the white on this one has already faded for the most part down to yellow. So the whole snake is just yellow at this point. So this is the one that I have the most high hopes about it being high yellow. But as it stands, it is still up for grabs if somebody wants it. Today was the very last day for shipping, so you would have to just accept to enjoy it over the winter, which is great because that means, payment plans are wonderful. But if it stays, it stays. If it goes, it goes. We'll see.
somebody asked earlier, how can you tell? What's the indication that they're about to strike you? I think it's when their eyes are open. I think is the answer. But
Yeah, when their eyes are open. There's not a huge indication. There's not a huge indication if they're about to strike or not. So
you also work with emerald tree boas as well, right?
yeah, I have some of them.
Okay. Very cool.
that one's really dark.
Love
Wow.
these green cheese, just awesome.
This is one of my new calico babies I got
Right.
from TSK, the Splash line.
Ooh.
You love the splash line, don't you?
Flash line. That's the best line is what I heard.
I wouldn't say it's the best line.
You should have ran with it. Just to poke at him.
I've heard her clear up on a past podcast I watched that Splash was an animal's name, not necessarily. So it's a lineage, not necessarily a phenotype color description. You're working from the genes of the animal named Splash, correct?
Exactly. Precisely.
When you heat your racks, these guys in small totes, these people sometimes go, "Oh my gosh!" And myself, I went too large in my first tote for this guy I got from you. Or you use back heat, not belly heat, or
Both of those racks that I have over there are actually belly heat.
how does that do for you? You just have the you get a good even temperature, and then obviously it helps your humidity. I generally am a back heat guy. Do you find one better than the other? Or
I just have to bear in mind that one of the things you just have to take into consideration is they're going to dry out faster. They'll dry out faster. So like the
Okay.
paper towels and whatnot.
Yeah, let's talk about the substrate because people want to get one of these. Maybe they spend a good amount of money on it and they want to put it in the most awesome zoo type enclosure.
Somebody said, why does the tape on it say no? Because, okay, so that is one thing with these racks. Sorry, I just sat down. That is one thing with these racks is they're not super reliable with
So, for instance, typically speaking, what you would do is you would put, and I don't know, you may be able to see in that, you may not be able to see in that. But typically speaking, what you would do is you would put the probe underneath the heat tape, and then you would, go off of that. However, it's kind of hard sometimes to get the desired temperature in the tubs. So I basically have a tub sacrificed, and there's a hole cut in it, and then the probe is sitting inside the tub. That's what that black piece is. It's taped to sit in the tub. And I put no here because we were both really bad. My fiance and myself were really bad about pulling this tub out. When we would go through to check water and spray, we would pull this tub out, and I'd have to get in there, redo the tape, redo everything. So that's why it says no. There's nobody in there.
That's your monitoring.
No. Yeah. It just says no.
Gotcha.
So
I do that to myself. What temperatures do you like to run? And humidity levels when they're younger, the higher humidity, but talk about some of that if you can for just husbandry.
So I don't monitor humidity ever with any of my green trees, my emeralds, any of that. I do not monitor humidity because when it really comes down to it, hydration over humidity is the most important thing that you're going to have with these animals.
I do a little happy dance every time I see mine down actually drinking out of the dish. I literally hell yeah.
Oh, I know. It's nice to see.
Because you can go weeks and months without seeing it.
Oh, for sure.
Doesn't mean they don't do it, but you ain't always going to catch it.
Yeah, for sure. But other than when they are very first hatched, the first 3 months of their life, I'm not super concerned about being really high humidity. I will mist when it's their very, first couple months. I mist twice a day. I mean, the goal is to keep them absolutely just damp, because to help a Neo with shedding, like a brand new Neo with shedding, is a death sentence.
So high humidity the first 3 months.
High humidity in the very first at least 3 months. Yeah. Like the age that mine are at now, I go in there, I sprayed them this morning, which is why a lot of them are really misty. I sprayed them this morning, but I don't spray my adults unless they are going into shed.
Yeah.
But I will spray them in the wintertime, because even though in the wintertime we are still in the South, we still have high humidity. It's not as high as what they're used to.
So Gary Shavino, someone I respect a bunch, has put out a lot of really great YouTube content in the last handful of years. I think he was saying he kept his Neos over water only as a substrate, to kind of misuse that word, in his tubs up to 6 months.
A lot of people do.
Yeah. And then if they defecate in it, then you've got, you're really going to be on your animal every day, sometimes twice a day when they're young, to keep that water clean. You better have spare tubs ready just to swap out with removable perch.
Well, see, and that's a reason why a lot of people don't do. You pretty much have to change the water daily.
Right.
Much.
And bleach or properly sanitize that dirty enclosure before you put it back into service.
And then you got to make sure you don't get too much water in there that they'll drown, because they're quite stupid. And they will drown. So.
Well, that changes everything right there.
That they're stupid?
Yeah. I can't have a snake that's going to drown.
Yeah, they're pretty stupid. The amount of times that I've pulled these snakes off
you should never tell me that.
Rack you up.
When you breed Brazilian rainbow boas, you have to put some kind of a sieve of some sort in the water bowl, because mom will often lay the babies in there so they can get out and don't drown.
Wow.
Yeah, because they need an escape route to climb out.
That's wild.
Wow.
They're cozier.
Yeah, they are.
They're working on it. He's close. He's in and around the area he needs to be. I don't think he's hit it yet, though. Is that okay
He
to talk
didn't quit
about
it
on
just yet.
TikTok?
He ain't gave up yet.
No, he'll try all night.
That's
I don't
my
know
boy.
if that's okay. I don't know if that's okay to talk about on TikTok. Gosh, he's gotten
That dude's
fat.
my dog, man. That's my guy right there.
Keep it up, my boy. Keep it up.
He has really gotten fat. I'm embarrassed for you, dude.
Let yourself go, bro. Come on, man.
Look at all the wrinkles. Good God. He's trying, though. I mean, he's mostly in the right area.
That's all we can ask for is a little
Oh
guidance.
yeah, he's got a fan base now.
He's got a fan base. He has at least gotten it in a handful of times.
That's my dog.
I'm just slightly creepy.
Another notch on his belt.
Because I watch.
Really having to just mind my manners right now.
I ought to put it up on a live stream.
Oh, socially, Sydney got the corgis. Oh, thanks. Thanks.
Okay, what's his name? Ron Jeremy?
His name is Valix.
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 Very cool.
And her name is Mo.
As in no mo?
The lightning bolt.
Mo. Look at that fat on his tail. I'm sorry, I'm obsessing over it now. I didn't realize how fat he was.
Ron
See
Valix.
it? Do you see
Hey.
it?
Don't hurt his feelings.
I see the ripples underneath on the side of his scoots.
There you go. There you go. Ron Valix Jeremy. That's what I'm talking about.
Maybe I should play some music for them.
Get it done, homeboy.
Hey Alexa, play Barry White.
All right.
Barry White and similar artists on Amazon Music.
Oh yeah.
Need to do something.
Little Marvin Gaye. There you go. That's a good one.
I mean, she has loosened up, so she's definitely not saying no.
Yeah, she ain't slapped him yet.
I've actually never seen a female like dislike it so much they go to like the physical assault route.
Maybe you got to turn the lights down low. Get it going, look, right? Get the candles lit.
I only have the lights on because we're sitting here showing y'all. So
You could
that's
probably
all
sell
my
tickets
lights
to
on.
this.
I'm telling you, I got a camera on them.
I'd leave his camera on him 24/7.
They do. That camera is on them 24/7.
I mean, live on the. You got a live going watching them?
No.
Happy
He's
Basins
trying.
did that with their emeralds.
I'm gonna do a sexy dance.
Oh, there he is.
Right there. There's his sexy dance. That is his. Can you drop your tail? Can you give me a little?
He's like, hey, baby, you like to fish?
I'll show you all my fishing pictures.
He's ready to go.
They get to wiggling like he's doing right now.
He's like, you got to hold his hand.
They crack me up. Hey, if one pair's doing something, I'll take it.
This is so cool. This is so awesome. Hey, live on Naughty Business right here, Constrictly. Right, first
Actually,
ever.
naughty business.
Yeah.
Right, Naughty
Okay.
Business live on Naughty Business. First ever watching green trees do their thing. There you go.
Trying.
Another
He's
world's
trying
first.
to. He is trying. He's been away from her for about a week.
We had to rest up.
He had to rest. He had to eat. Man deserved a meal. But he's nowhere near the hole.
This is this is awesome.
Oh God.
On his mind, though.
Doing the helicopter.
Oh, and actually, okay, I'm gonna show y'all this. I'm gonna show y'all this one. Please ignore the fact that she's got horrible shed on her. But this one, so he's doing a little sexy dance on himself.
Wanted to drop the pants, do the helicopter dance.
You'll see him move his tail here in a minute. He literally is doing the sexy dance on himself.
Like an elephant in the dryer.
Yeah, basically.
You're right.
Let me see if he'll do it again. I think he's a bit scared of her. I would be too.
So he's got to build up his nerve before he goes.
I'm just
It's
gonna be.
on.
I'm just gonna be over here taking care of myself. Don't worry. I'm not gonna bother you tonight, honey. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
No, he's definitely been over there.
Sometimes a man gonna do what a man gonna do.
That's right.
This is my male that is notorious for fondling the perch for like 24 hours before actually figuring out which hole is which.
He's got a mannequin fetish. Leave him alone.
Pretty much. This is the male that is dad to two of the babies that I showed you.
Oh, your reds or yellow neos? Your holdbacks.
The one that I showed you that was the red and the yellow.
Gotcha.
So what's your success rate right now on your babies?
What do you mean?
Like,
Good question.
Like how many hatched and how many lived to
yeah,
still?
that how many you keep thriving versus ones that don't make it.
100%.
Dude, come on. There you go.
I have not lost a baby. Now, obviously, some didn't make it out of the egg, but I have not lost a baby.
Wow.
So
Very
I understand in order of difficulty, getting them to lock and make eggs is the easy part. The incubation is tricky, and then the thriving up on a perch and then actually eating their first, second, and 10th meal, so on and so forth, is the most difficult part of it. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I would say that for sure. I mean, ultimately, this part right here is all on them. You don't milk snakes, man. So, I mean, artificial, work does not exist in snakes.
Could you imagine if that ever comes to be? Like, the whole game will change. We're only going to have high-end designers only, and everything else to just be a garter snake at that point. If it's not.
Yeah, but realistically, question there is like, how would you get it? How do you get the juice?
Bill volunteers.
Volunteer? What? Miniature volunteers? Make itty bitty.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. How would you?
I can't imagine.
Hey, here you go, little buddy.
I thought he was going to start dancing again for us, but
I was
He
using the
wants it.
tweezers. I was being gentle, just a tip.
he wants it, but he's a little scared.
Again, I can relate. Yeah.
He's thinking about it. We'll come back to him.
Get it done, buddy. You got this. You got this.
This girl, I'm actually putting a male with this girl, which is why I'm not upset that she's fat. I wish there was a way to show her size, like really. She's easily probably 2,500 grams.
Dang. That's huge. I'm looking at my biggest ball python. She's that big. And that's huge for an arboreal snake. Wow.
So that's a 1-inch perch that she's on. And her, gosh, I wish I could get my hand close without worried about taking teeth.
No.
Her, like that thickest width right there is by easily the size of my forearm.
Well, let's ask you this, because people are always worried about, right, getting bit and things like that. I think I even got asked this one time, what type of glove, right, as there would be a glove or something that you could wear.
Carly
I'm
Raw
not wearing no
Dog.
glove. I'm not no freaking
Well,
baby.
some people would. I'm just saying, what if somebody wanted to wear a glove? What would be, is there one?
Well, her teeth are like 2 inches long. What
That's
is
like
going
the
to
fangs
stop
on a
that?
Gaboon Viper, guys.
What
There
is
you
going to
go.
stop that? Nothing's going to stop that. They're like hypodermic needles.
Maybe you install razor wire at prisons and have special, I don't know, certain
Right.
gloves.
I don't know. If there are gloves, I don't suggest gloves. I think that it's
I would think that would hurt their teeth at that point if you didn't have the right material to where, if they latched on or something and couldn't get off, then you pull the tooth.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I get that.
I truly cannot express. I mean, this is a 4-foot cage.
Right. No, I'm just asking because I've heard people ask me that, and I'm like, I don't. Well, why would you? I mean, I don't.
I'm not. I just accept the fact that if I'm gonna get bit, I'm gonna get bit. That's just called accepting it when you own snakes. I'd still, now, her being the exception, I would still take a bite from almost any of these snakes over my toddler.
Yeah, well.
I could agree with that.
infection.
I could agree with that one.
Less infection for sure.
Oh my goodness, less pain.
Yeah,
I've been bit by
toddlers
my
can
toddler.
bite.
I'm sure they enjoy me staring at them.
We're enjoying it. We're a bunch of voyeurs. This is great.
I know, right?
Do you temp cycle? What do you do on your temps for the breeding season? Do you do that with the difference between these and the emeralds? Anything?
Yeah, so I do temp cycle. I do not food cycle for the most part, and I don't light cycle. Oh, what we doing?
If the perch is a rocking, don't come a knocking.
He's still not in the right spot. I don't light cycle. I temperature cycle. For the green trees, the females are on 85 day. And then when they're cycling, they go down to 73 night. For the emeralds, and the males are pretty much the same. They're not as hot. I keep them at 70 or 83 day. But the emeralds, I'll do, they're all at 84. And then they go down to about 70, 68 at nighttime. If they're cycling. Now, if they're not cycling, like this girl right here is not cycling. So she only goes down to 78 at night.
She's gorgeous. Is she just too young? She's gonna need another year, or why?
No, she was gonna cycle. I cycled her, and then she didn't handle the cycling very well. So she ended up with a respiratory infection. Mm-hmm. So I pulled her off. I pulled her heat back up, so that I didn't have to worry about. I'm obviously not gonna put a male in there with her, especially because the male that I was gonna put in there with her would have chased her to the ground, stressed her out, caused a worse, infection. So.
Okay. What signs did you notice that you had an RI on her?
She just started kind of being a little raspy. You are not in the right spot, my guy.
How long will you leave them together?
So they will stay together if they're doing something. So like this pair, I literally just fed these guys on Sunday, and I will keep them together until right before they've got to feed again.
Which is when?
2 weeks from Sunday. So they'll stay together a week and a half.
I've heard some people in the Chondro game, like, they barely feed their animals like 4 months out of the year, and they're off food most of the year.
I prefer to keep the food going just because I don't want anybody to get skinny.
Do you have any females available? Rose asking.
Ro, that's a dumb question. You know better. I got babies. You can take a chance on a baby. You can do it the same way everybody else does it. Were you just preaching? I swear this man was just preaching. I need to go back up in the comments where he said, get your neos and raise them up and then breed them. I know that was you, Ro.
Well, that was earlier. He thought you forgot, and he's just trying to jump the line now. I mean, I would do the same thing. Props to you, Ro.
No, I got babies. Ro, you know that I've got babies. They're having a moment.
So when you're first starting out, we're seeing these. Someone had mentioned, I think, Rep the Nation, Fascination said they were getting some black box enclosures, which is what you use.
Yes, I love them.
Let's talk about when you first get a Neo. What if someone's considering getting their first green tree?
It all depends on how old the baby is. So, for instance, like the ones that I have got, like the one that you got, I'm kind of at that weird age where they're, yes, technically ready to move up. No, they could still throw a fit about it, which is what yours did.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you kind of have to be prepared to do a little bit of like troubleshooting because, if they're not eating, if they're going to the ground, they may not like the extra space. It could be a situation of you could just add a crap ton of clutter, which I don't like to do because that's then a whole bunch of extra stuff that you've got to clean. Or you could just go ahead and size them back down into a smaller enclosure and then, try to move up again in a couple of months.
Can I show them my little one for reference here? I mean, we've seen your rack.
Go ahead.
Let's see your rack now, Phil. Let's see it.
Okay, here you go.
Chicka, bow, bow.
So this is a 7-quart sterile. Oh, I got a heart for that. Maybe I should.
No, Carly didn't got a heart.
Sterilite tub. I like latches. Latches are security. If you've got a rack, you don't need the lids, and there's not enough of a gap. Great, wonderful. That's cool. This one, just based on how I put it together, I like the latch lid. 7 quarts, and I started out, Carly, with a 20 quart. I've got a couple of them made, and it grounded. It didn't like it. So my lid, I just got some cheap old contact paper on it. And I fashioned out very, very affordably children's coat hanger with some cable tie holders. Very, very economical, like $15, and I have more than enough that I can possibly use. So this is my dude. I hope it's a dude.
Can you put him on the big screen?
I'm working right now. He's going in the shed, as you can tell. Definitely
in shed.
So this is a children's, there's like 15 of them for like $4.50 at Walmart. This tub was $6. A pack of 20 of the holders that I've used to fashion what is removable. It's like 20 of them for, again, like $4 at Walmart. I've put a few holes on one end, put some low holes on the warm end just to help a little air evacuation. This is the cool end with more ventilation. Humidity's up because it is going up in the shed. And I use an oversized water dish to increase humidity, encourage drinking. But super simple, ain't nothing fancy in here. When it moves up to the 20 quart, I got a few fake leaves, attached to the ceiling. That's about it. Otherwise, not much changes other than doesn't 2 perches instead of 1. So having a removable perch can be done economically. Carly's got some really awesome ones, which I like. They're about between $10 to $20 generally, depending on who you go with. I love removable perches, and it'll save your life to have removable perches.
It'll save your fingers.
I was being dramatic, but that's right. So this little dude,
Yeah, we like drama.
super chill. It's been a lot more sweet than my. Oh, look, he's getting spicy. See?
It can't see, Phil. Can you really blame it?
I think it just wants to bite Phil anyway.
Usually it's pretty sweet.
Oh, look.
I mean, I'd bite Phil
His
too.
little ticklers. You can see his ticklers.
What? A French tickler? What? What?
What truck
What did
stop
this
you
show
stop
turn
at?
into?
He put him back behind, but you could see his little gosh dang it. My brain, y'all.
Spurs.
Spurs. Yes, thank you. Look, he's doing it on himself. He's doing the sexy dance. If he brings it back around, there you go. You see him?
Same, bro. Same.
Can you see him? He said, I'm moving him. He's going in for the kill.
Yeah, that lump is quite pronounced there, right where his coil folds over on the white belly.
You can actually see. I wish I could zoom. I wish there was a way to zoom in. But I'm getting bit if I open that thing. If I open that glass. But you can actually. His little spurs are just a wiggling.
Wiggle, wiggle, don't stop, wiggle, wiggle.
He's got a little bit more pronounced spurs. We'll see what he does. But somebody asked, and I told him I would get into it here in a second. Sean, if you're still here, he asked about when I was talking about U.S. bred and wild caught, and why is the reason to avoid wild.
Yes.
So there's not a. I hate that that sounded like that. I'm not saying that you should avoid wild. That is not something that I'm saying. I will say, if you are somebody who is just coming into this and this is your first time green tree and you want to just try it out to see if you can keep one alive, or maybe you don't want to do a breeder and you just want to have a pet, then yes, I would absolutely avoid going with a wild caught animal and not going with, a U.S. bred baby from a breeder. I would absolutely 100%, because I have seen a whole bunch of people that basically what happens is they pick the cheapest option. They go and they get a wild caught animal, and then it's parasite ridden. You end up with external parasites like nematodes. You get internal parasites, that can cause serious issues for the snake. External parasites are not that big of a deal. They're unsightly, but the snake's not the intended host for the external parasite. So I see a lot of people that are like, oh, what do I do? Like, my snake's got this weird bump on it. That kind of stuff. And it's like, you know what? Like, if it's only got 1 or maybe even 2, I wouldn't bother having it removed, because it's unsightly and it'll likely make a little sore, a little cyst, but it's not hurting the snake, because the snake is not, he's getting close. The snake is not the intended host. The intended host is actually like a bird or something, to eat the snake. But the internal parasites can cause you some serious issues. You can get regurgitations. You can get animals that don't eat. You can get all sorts of issues. And then before you know it, you can end up with a snake that passes on. And you don't really you have no help. You can't go to the, importer and say, hey, you sold me a sick snake. They're going to say, I don't really care.
Right.
So that doesn't help you at all either. Versus if you go with a U.S. bred animal, even if it's a locality animal, you go with a U.S. bred animal, and what you're going to end up happening is you're going to have the support of the breeder. You're going to have the breeder there to troubleshoot for you. I have never in my life seen a breeder sell an animal that had any sort of parasite whatsoever. So you're just going to get a healthier animal by spending a little bit more, and you're more likely to have success versus than, a difficult failure that makes you feel like you can't actually keep green trees when that's not the case. You just started off with a bad hand. As far as people who have experience, I will absolutely buy myself an import. You better bet it, because we are a closed off population, meaning we don't have naturally occurring green trees in the wild, not here in the U.S. So we can't just go pick off a perch or something like that. And the thing is when you get, and you see that a lot with blue line animals, they can get pretty much inbred, and you start having serious defects, serious deformities, serious issues that ultimately, end the life of the snake. So you've got to introduce fresh blood. It's no different that if you take, let's say you go and you cherry pick a population of 100 people off of the U.S. and you shove them on an island with just them. Those 100 people may not be related originally, but, eventually, as they procreate and whatnot, you're going to start to see issues where people become cousins, second cousins, even siblings. And it's like, well, you either continue the population or you don't, because you're worried about inbreeding, and that's the problem. So that's where it becomes important to add in fresh blood and outcross.
I feel like we were picking on the Australian continent there for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, the Australians have, but you have to remember that the Australians have a native population.
There was Aboriginals, but I was joking about the colonial prisoners. They dropped off there in the 1600s.
I don't know nothing about that. I'm going to be really honest.
Oh.
History is not my thing.
Okay, so we can't cover geography. We can't cover history.
No.
How's your spelling? How's that one doing? Is
My
that all right?
spelling's
You're such a good sport. I love it.
I was hoping she was up against the glass.
So we've teased. We talked about the emerald. Your biggest girl, the emerald tree boa. This someone asked earlier. This is a barred neck scrub python. This one's slender, but about 10 foot, right? Isn't that what you said?
Pretty long. And this cage, before anybody says it, is super too small for her. We literally just have not made it down. We're going the first week in December to pick up some fresh new cages, including a nice big cage for this girl. She's probably going to come say hi.
How's handling for that one?
Once you get her out, she's fine. I wouldn't do it right now.
No, not
Once you
19.
get her out, she's fine. This snake's like puppy dog tame once you get her out. But right now, she just wants to eat.
Do they stay arboreal? This barred neck scrub python, or is there different behaviors in the different scrub python subspecies, or are they?
Oh, they say that they're semi-arboreal, but this girl's literally never off of this perch.
Yeah.
And I do mean never off of this perch. But as you can see, she's quite long.
What are your plans for them? How many of those you have a pair, right?
I have a pair. Yeah, just one pair. I just wanted something a little bit smarter.
Why did you get out of carpets? What? I mean, I know. I mean, obviously, there's some very striking ones, especially the highlighter line in the jungle. I like jungle carpets myself, but what made you say that's not for me?
I didn't like getting bit.
Oh, and the scrub is better.
These have never bit me.
Wow, the reputation is not accurate then. That's amazing.
Never
Okay.
bit. They so they're smarter. They're significantly smarter. Not only that, but they are still, like I said, they're mostly arboreal. You know? So I like the fact that I can remove snakes on their perches to clean their cages and they don't bug me.
Look at the size of that tongue.
Oh no, I can't get her zoomed in or like. She's kind of a goob. She's very pretty. And they're very smart. They also are very soft. They feel like velvet. I see we've made no progress. Not that I'm rushing him, but you know. She's still eating, so I'm kind of rushing him.
Do you adjust your humidity with the seasons at all? You said you don't even really spray your adults except the winter time.
So, like, most of my cages stay pretty dry bone. I just make sure that they've got fresh water. I refill, so I change my water twice a week. And just make sure they've got nice fresh water. Now, there are a few exceptions to that. So I pretty much carelessly will dump water in the floor of the cage when I put the water bowl back every like third. No, he's not got it in yet. Every third water change. So every like week and a half, I just kind of dump it, make the puppy pad pretty saturated. And then when they're headed into shed, I'll spray them. And then I do spray twice a week every time or during the winter, like during the winter months when the humidity drops. So like this one up here is headed into shed. So I misted her pretty heavily earlier today. And I'll get in there and mist the dad of your snake before I go to bed.
Have you had any trouble with prolapse in neos or along the way in these last 6 years?
Nope. I've had only ever one animal prolapse, and that animal prolapsed due to a genetic deformity. He had I have terrible pregnancy brain. A closed cecum, I believe is what it was called. But it basically, it just like his intestines basically V'd off. They made like a V, and then there was a closed section to it.
Oh.
So it didn't go anywhere. There was no exit. So it slowly built up over time. He's trying real hard. And he's close in the same spot. But not.
It seems like the boys are trying, the girls aren't receptive yet by and large, but it's also very early in this process as far
If
as...
she wasn't receptive, he wouldn't even be trying right now.
Okay.
So she's receptive. It just, I mean, the lights are on, so that's probably a little bit of the problem. But he's trying real hard, even with the lights being on.
What do you? What's your incubation medium? I think you said the other day. Did you go to straight water or Orbeez?
No, I don't do Orbeez. I do, I think it's perlite.
Oh, that's right. The lightweight bag. Yep, the white perlite. That one's awesome looking.
She's pretty.
Yeah, the ways those blues stand out, I like that.
She's very pretty. She'd eat if I fed her.
but nobody's eating today.
Nobody's eating.
Yeah, that blue is awesome on that one. That one, that's a real stunner.
She's a very like deep. It's an odd green. It's like a very. It's definitely what I would call forest green. It's not like a lime green. It's not a blue green. It's very much forest green.
She's staring me down.
So what's the incubation? What's the time frame on incubating eggs?
So I had my first batch this year, hatched out. The first one pipped at day 47, and I was panicking.
Yeah, because isn't 52 more of an expected date?
52 is the expected date. You do see somewhat. You can see people, or you can see the clutches will hatch at like 49, pip at 49 sometimes. I had a little bit of a heat issue because I had eggs in there that were 10 days apart. And so I had to do a straight bake, and they start to heat up after a while.
Yep.
So my aim for a straight bake was like 86.5.
That's what I plan to do as well, yeah.
And I ended up closer, though, to I think 86.8. So as they started to heat up, because they start producing their own heat.
The last 7 to 10 days, right? 5 to 10 days?
Usually that is when you would start to drop temperatures.
Yep.
But I didn't have that option. So I wasn't able to do that. So I just had to let them be. And what ended up happening is I got an early one at day 47, which actually ended up being my largest one.
Will you straight bake again on your temp, or do you going to go back to drop in the last 5 or 10 days?
It all just depends on what I've got in the incubator at the time. I got a second incubator this time around.
Yep. That's my next question.
If I end up, with only 2 clutches, well, cool. Then I have got, I've got 2 incubators. But if I end up with more than 2 clutches, then obviously there's some troubleshooting that has to be done. No, I don't feed no chicken gizzards, Ro. Yes, they are sea serpent incubators that I have.
So that's a good question. So the Marshall Mendez chicken gizzard concept, and then who's the young guy that's the one that gave MJ the concept for the crested geckos? What's that young kid's name? He's like 25.
Are you talking about Garrick?
No, not Garrett. Blue. No. Gosh, he was just on Chondro Lounge a couple episodes ago. It was too young, dude. It's one guy I've seen him before on Tuesday night show with MJ, but he's the one that started with crested geckos, and then MJ's kind of made it more popular. So we talk of chicken gizzards. There's also chick down on your pinky mice. There's a few different ideas out there now. People have success, and that's what's crazy about green trees is you can have success different ways. But what do you think about these alternative food sources beyond just pinkies? I mean, what's your opinion on it?
I mean, I would absolutely go to them if I needed to. I haven't needed to, though. All of my babies ate first time around on unscented pinkies. So if I needed to feed them, if I needed to feed them an alternative food source, I might. But I'm going to try first still on pinkies, and then I'm going to move to scented pinkies. And I probably would then move to live pinkies before I moved to a different food source.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because you hear some arguments that the pinkies are, you can lead to prolapse, or what's your opinion on that causes prolapse? Is it the biology of the way the structure's made, like as in your case there? Or
no, I think it's hydration.
Hydration. Too much or too little?
Too little. No, I think it is too little hydration.
Okay.
These are actually 2 very small snakes. These are not super large snakes.
See, I'm so paranoid. I think I want to start a morning gecko colony because they can reproduce quite easily without incubation, without having to monitor males and females, and
I
have
hate
chicken
this.
gizzard in the freezer, have chick down in the freezer, and have my own, pinky mice. I think I want to have like a 4-headed monster on the ready, just for whatever I may come across, just out of paranoia. And I totally agree with your stair-step approach. Start with the most simple and easy to maintain going forward. Do you have any provisions? I mean, it's easy to get chicken gizzard, or even chick down. But what about what if you felt the need to go to geckos? Do you have a way you can reach out to somebody or do something about that? Or
I mean, I guess if I really needed to, but I don't really. Like I said, I haven't had to go to that,
yeah,
so.
no assist feeds. You've had luck with them taken after a period of time and the yolks.
I had a couple of cyst feeds, so like after they had like 3 meals, it's not uncommon to see them just go off a feed for a little bit. So I did have to assist some, but I still did it with pinkies.
I've heard that after a handful of meals, they just get dumb and just stop eating, even though they
I've
started
seen
off.
people after like 15 meals, their babies will go off of food.
That's crazy.
No.
Yeah, I'm cutting him back to 3 weeks for food. I am doing it. That's too fat. Worse than BPs? What's worse than BPs? I don't know anything about BPs. They're all bad.
Oh my god.
What do you want from me?
Ball pythons can go off food sometimes for weeks or months, and people really pull their hair out about it. But it can be there's a different set of tricks you can use compared to the green trees, but they can be stubborn sometimes. Ball pythons going off food.
He's quite close, but no cigar.
Man. Hey, we haven't seen Santos in here tonight. I wonder what he was up to. A1 Exotic Pets he usually is on whenever
I
you're
thought
on.
I saw him up here earlier,
Oh, okay.
like way earlier.
Any last advice for people that you think should, if they're going to venture in the green trees for the first time, what do you think's the one little tidbit they should keep most in forefront? And we've kind of talked about a few different things: husbandry, housing, where your animal comes from. But overall, what would you think the biggest thing to take away was to make people, kind of self-evaluate when they're getting into it?
Buy from a breeder and listen to their advice.
Hmm.
Literally, that's the best success.
That people will have. She's not going to eat him.
Buy from a breeder and listen to their advice, yeah. And try to mirror how they were keeping them before they shipped to you, right? I mean,
Yeah, and that's why I include. There's like a little blurb in all the stuff that I have. I'm like, listen, this is how your snake's been kept. I'm not saying you have to recreate it, but I am saying you'll probably have the best success if you do.
yeah. Completely.
It's just like when you get a puppy from a breeder, they're going to say, hey, I'm not saying you got to stay on the same food, but you should start out on it.
Yep. Everything from perch diameter to temperature gradient, humidity, enclosure size, prey type, light cycle, all of those things try to mimic when you got it from a breeder. And that is a drawback to having, a captive hatched or wild caught, is that you don't have those answers. I know that firsthand. So you don't have an opportunity to recreate where it was coming from. All you can do is take people's tidbits of knowledge and textbook and whatnot and shoot for the best. And I've been lucky with mine, but there's nobody to reference. You can't recreate because there's no one that can tell you.
Nope. Dred, you'd love this girl.
I do love that one right there.
You would love her. She would love Snuggles.
I'm for it.
You know this snake's
I
name?
like to get bit, so I'm okay.
The snake's name is Satan's daughter.
Yeah, there you go. That's my girl right there.
I didn't
How much
put her
harder?
boy back in, but
How much harder than a ball python are they to care for? It is different. It's night and day. They're not harder. And I hear a lot of pros on a lot of podcasts say green trees are the easiest snake to keep. But for the love of Pete, don't try to recreate like nature and think you're going to make a zoo enclosure for them. Just stick to the bare bones basic stuff. Because if you try to zhuzh it up and make it all fancy for your aesthetic, you're down the rabbit hole of failure already. See how all this is working for her? It's basic, and that's why it works. She's crushing it, and she's not alone. All the breeders of this caliber are doing this.
that's what it's like to own green trees, by the way. Do you see that one? I'm standing over here.
Very cool. I love that you got set up on that. Your whole wall. I mean, that is just awesome.
This wall will also be like this here shortly.
So what size are those boxes?
These are 24 by 24. The ones on
Black box? Which ones? Yeah, black box.
Do you see how fat he is?
Don't make fun of fat boy. Come on.
He's fat.
Hitting close to home, Dread.
He needs to hit the treadmill. Oh, I know I need to hit the treadmill.
There's everybody's favorite.
Yeah, that one's cool. I like that. I like Satan's daughter. That one really caught my eye.
I like her high yellow one with the green flecks, and I love this one for sure. And then the one she said she wasn't cycling this year that had the
Yeah.
aquamarine.
And then that other one, and then the other one before that one. And remember that other one?
Of your emerald tree bow, your hybrid is my favorite. I don't care if it's sacrilegious or frowned upon in the community or whatever, because I don't know. But I love your hybrid. That's my favorite one.
He's a pretty girl.
Man. So
That guy's got a date with that girl down there. You're nosy.
crazy, just cool.
Humidity and temp. We touched on it earlier, pretty in depth. ABN. Humidity is really darn high when they're young. The first, let's say, at least 3 months, if not 6, and you can step it down to the year level. And after that, she sprays about twice a week, leaves them fairly dry, unless they're going in the shed, and she'll spray it heavier. But temperature 84 for a high on the warm side. About what? You say 76 to 78 for a low, in that range.
Yeah, give or take.
When they're younger and smaller, a tighter range, more like 84 to 80.
I don't drop my Neos down at all.
Uh-huh.
Why are you
Yeah,
the
you're
way
good.
you are?
What the heck? Go away. Go to bed.
She's using radiant heat panels, which I recommend if you plan to get into this to have better sheds. And Herpstat thermostats, the best there is.
They snuggling.
Radiant heat panels.
That's what that is up at the top above them.
That is what you should definitely do for your green trees.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anything else.
No.
Just because I also wouldn't recommend anything else other than PVC.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So let's say some of these pairings pop off in the next, like, let's just say everything's lucky in the next 2 weeks, just so we can pick a date. What time frame would you be able to take eggs and pop them in the incubator?
Probably April, March and April.
Wow.
Anywhere. So it depends on what cycle they're kind of on. but it's anywhere between probably, I think I had my first batch of eggs was late January. So you can see them anywhere between January and April. Kisses.
You buy all your feeders, right? You don't keep a colony at the house because they stink?
No, heck no. They smell so bad.
Yeah.
No, I'll pass on that. Yeah, I get all of mine locally though. So that's nice.
All right, guys. Are you ready to wrap it up so you can get to bed? You're what, 10 o'clock at night there? You probably need some rest.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty tired. And these guys would probably appreciate me turning the lights off.
Look at them. They're staring longingly into each other's eyes.
Yeah, they are.
You've lost that
Love and feeling.
Whoa,
Whoa, that love and feeling. You lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone.
Gone.
You know what is one thing that I'll say I found very interesting when I decided to start keeping the emeralds? What is something you notice, Phil, compared to the green trees?
Their tails are shorter and thicker. They coil. They're a
Look
little
at the
more.
color. Look at the color.
I don't know what the right answer is.
So with the green trees, and I don't know if anybody's got their tail out for me to show it, you typically get a different color. You can kind of see it on hers. The tip is a different color because they're arboreal and they're doing the caudal luring.
Yep.
That emeralds don't have that. It's solidly the same way all the way through. You can kind of see his is black. It's solidly the same way all the way through.
Huh.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are emeralds more handleable?
Fuck no.
They're worse? Okay. So is there any tree boas that you can like handle?
No. Do you really blame them? They're tree shoestrings.
No, I
Right
don't,
for the
but I mean, I'd
snatching.
like to have one, it'd be cool if you had something you could, play with.
You just got to get a good snake. You saw me pull that one out earlier.
You're already training them to bite me, so I gotta be
I ain't
bite
training
dread,
them.
right? Every day she's telling them, bite dread, bite dread.
I ain't traded them. I mean, this girl is not terrible as long as she's not in feeding mode.
Super awesome.
I love how fat their faces are.
Play with your own snakes, Jen. I play with my snakes.
What excitement is there? Really, though?
Huh?
There's no excitement there. Y'all need exciting snakes.
I'm excited every day
For your rocks?
for whatever.
Brainstorming about genes and genetics and chromosomes and alleles and
I'm learning about new
Quality.
stuff every day. I don't care if there's pet rocks in the room. I got my boa and my king snake, and no big deal.
Yeah.
But
I'm judging.
but you got. I don't care. But you still got to have variety. I agree. You need variety.
hey, my Brazilian
You
rainbow
know.
boas are sweet as all get out. All three of them.
Oh, those rainbows are freaking awesome.
I'll get 2 more and be done, but I have 3 and they are all just so sweet natured. Take them out and handle them. They're awesome.
I want a bowling eye. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
You got space for that? You gonna get a flood animal?
Hell no, I ain't got no space for bowlings. And they're also, it's just a waste of, you are doing the sexy dirty dance on yourself, my guy. You're gonna get nowhere with that. Look at his little ticklers. Look,
Wow,
I've
you
got-
can really
Oh
see
yeah,
that
you
big-
can see them.
That is yourself.
feel like I shouldn't be watching.
That is yourself, my guy.
I had to sign a permission slip just to come to this show today. So
Y'all didn't know it was going to be 18 plus, huh?
right.
It's almost turned into NC-17. We got close.
What the hell is the BP version of Boland's?
I think she's referencing the Dark Angel more.
The dark.
Look at him go. Bubba, you work those things. You're just not working it anywhere near the right spot.
Dude, show him a video. It's like this, buddy. Watch this video.
I'm telling you, this is the snake that is notorious for being a little extra on his touchy-feeliness, and I guess he just needs to prime himself.
That joker must have stayed in the bathroom too long on sex education day.
You see, kids, when a daddy snake loves a mama snake very, very much.
They use one of two tools.
That's right. Love yourself first, bud.
I mean, I feel like that's quite literally the definition. He said, I just got to get myself ready. Also, she's kind of scary. I don't really blame him. He's not been with her before, so he's like, I don't know this one. But I smell smells. See how limey he is? I love it.
He's awesome. Phil, who's our guest? What's next week? Babu.
I go to Babu the 26th. I'll be at his facility going live from his snake room there. And then we are off technically for Thanksgiving week. We're not going to do a show. We'll pick back up in December. I'll also be in New York City with the agency going to TikTok headquarters December 1st through the 4th. So I'll have lots of content and lives from there as well. Not necessarily reptile related, but cool nonetheless. I'll be all over New York decorated for Christmas time. So that's going to be super killer. So yeah, a week off from our Wednesday show. This is our last one for November before Turkey Day, aside from my couple of trips coming up here.
Cool. Guys, stay tuned. Good things are coming in the New Year's. Get ready.
Yeah, we're working on January is pretty much booked. We're working on February a little bit. So, and we're going to branch into exotic pets 1 week out of the month, starting in January.
You know it's legal to keep kangaroos in South Carolina? You don't even have to have a permit.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of 2 states that you don't have to have a permit to keep a kangaroo.
That's where I need to go. So I can get me a kangaroo.
I don't think you have to have a permit to own a giraffe either.
Man,
I'll
I just
get
read an
one of those
article
too.
before we did the show. They're going on the endangered and threatened list.
Oh, well, then there would probably have to be a permit for that.
They've plummeted since 89. Their population has dropped 77% in the wild. They went from like 26,000 animals to like 5,500.
That's wild.
Wow.
It's rough.
That's
wild.
crazy. That's sad. Yeah, that's sad.
They're going to permit them because people trophy hunt them in America, especially in the U.S., and they bring them back for taxidermy. And between the droughts that have been kind of chronic in Africa, growing farming and civilization, shrinking, wildlands for the giraffes, and then hunters, they're going to shut down hunters. They're going to be heavily permitted to bring in any parts to taxidermy going forward, it looks like.
Well, there was some uproar here recently about there's a zoo in the U.S. somewhere that has got some sort of special pattern coat, color, whatever you want to call it, giraffe, and some big rich trophy hunter came in and said, hey, I will pay you like an obscene amount of money
for that giraffe's coat because it's very rare. And there are people who are literally at this, zoo that are kind of torn because they're like, listen, that's a lot of money. We could do a lot of research. We could save a lot of animals. But is it right?
No.
Yeah. And
Did
that's,
they sell it?
I am not aware that they have sold it.
No.
So I don't think they will.
Of all places, a zoo, a university, a hospital, they've got to take the high road. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
I mean, I think the argument that some of them are making is, what's one life over. Some of them are making is, what's one.
Uh-oh. There we go.
I fixed it.
What's one life versus the others? Well, unless you're going to be saving like a bunch of like white rhinos or something and versus one giraffe. I mean, I don't know. It would come down to what's the most endangered and which lives are you saving? I mean, if you're saving a bunch of groundhogs, then who cares? But even if, how could you trade one life for the other? I mean,
That's true.
I don't know, put it in the human terms. Oh, you can off your brother, but you get to keep your sister. Like, why would anyone decide? It's just weird. Huh. Yeah, I think there's like 5 subspecies of giraffes. Reticulated's the most common, and there's like 5 of them. One of them is actually called a Maasai, ironically enough, which Jen would notice and Judd would notice. But there's like 5 subspecies.
Whipping it back around.
Oh.
I'm
Do
telling
you
you, this
have
one will sit
do you
here
have
and-
cameras on these guys you can monitor from remotely?
Not this cage. I lost one of my cameras, unfortunately, in the move, so not this cage. But he knows what he's doing, so I really don't need to. I mean, once he gets past this self-fondling, he'll get to it. The lights are on, so it's still very new.
Yeah, it's super late for them. They're like, what? We're like 3 hours past due here. They're thinking.
Yeah, I know, because their lights normally go off at 8.
Yeah.
So he'll move up there once, the lights are off and once I'm not in front of the cage. No, he doesn't have to wait on her. I mean, he could get up there right now if he wanted to. And he looks like he wants to. I'm just messing with him because they can see me and the lights are on.
To be continued. Well, that's exciting. I hope all 4 pairs go for you. This is cool.
We'll see. I hope all 4 pairs do not go. I'm not trying to do that at a newborn.
4 clutches, 2 incubators, and a baby. It sounds like a movie. Remember that movie 3 Men and a Baby?
That sounds like a terrible, terrible idea.
4 clutches, 2 incubators, and a baby. On this week's episode of
And a
Carly's
toddler.
Life. And a toddler. Oh, man.
But no, they're pretty good. These 2 he's still trying to, bless his heart. He's just a baby.
Well, Carly, thanks for hanging out, doing the show with us. We appreciate it. Very grateful. Beautiful animals you have there, and we love your corgi.
Yes. Perfect.
He's cute.
He's a fat man, but he has a tendency to lay in front of the big snake cages, and I promise you they're sitting there thinking, is it edible?
Where there's a will, there's a way. Cool. Carly, my friend, thank you so much for hanging out with us. That's 2 podcasts for you in 1 week. You just make all the circuits and then you rinse and repeat. So everyone loves what you got to say. So I appreciate you taking time to hang out with us tonight for sure, for sure.
Thank you, moderators. Thanks for everybody coming through. Thanks for hanging out and all the love. We appreciate all y'all. Y'all know how we do it.
Absolutely.
Naughty Nation all the way.
By
It was
default,
actually naughty today.
Carly's my mentor by default, whether she likes it or not. So Appreciate you. Well, you have a good night and get better if possible. Don't catch any more
Yes,
bugs
get the
for
feeling
day.
better. Get some rest.
I will be headed straight to bed.
All right. Have a good night. We love you.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Bye,
much
darlings.
again. See ya. All right, Dred. I'm going to, in a little bit, I'm going to try to do, I don't really ever mess with it, a sub-only live. I don't know, just because I have never used that bell and whistle. I got about 20 prey items to feed off, from baby chicks to 2 different sizes of rats. We'll see who eats and who doesn't. I don't know. I don't ever promise anything. We just give it our best shot. So,
All right, well, get on there and do your thing, guys. Sub only live with Constrictly coming up shortly.
yep,
Be on the lookout for it.
we'll see. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for rolling through, Dred. Get some rest, my dude. And next time after tonight, I don't know if you're really going to see me till I'll probably hang out and stuff, but I'll be at Bob.
Oh yeah, we're
Boo's.
still gonna be doing. I'll still be doing hangouts, and yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah,
we'll do
we'll
what we
get
can.
on and stuff in a more
Yeah.
casual manner, but I'll be at Bob Boo's on the 26th. It's about 3:30 Eastern, so 2:30 Central.
Okay.
That's like 9 a.m. for you, Dred. So,
That's fine. Just keep me posted.
all right, guys. Be
Naughty
good.
Nation all the way, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Peace out.